Guys, we're getting even closer now to Apple's September 7th iPhone 14 event, and so many things have began to leak out, from real-life photos of cases and accessories, new features we didn't know were coming, and even details about the event. This is the craziest leak video I've done in a while, so if you're excited, drop a like, hit subscribe so we hit 500K by the end of the year. We just gotta jump straight into things with battery life. Obviously, very important. I don't want to start off with too much of a hot take in this video, but yeah, I'd say the battery life, kind of an essential part of any smartphone. Well, just hours ago, we got our first credible information about battery life on the iPhone 14, courtesy of Mark Gurman, one of the greats, who says that on the iPhone 14 Pros, Apple will be increasing the battery life over the 13. Noticeably missing here, though, is any mention of better battery life on the standard iPhone 14 or 14 Max, which I gotta say, if Apple does this, will be a huge L, because I get restricting a lot of features like the 48 megapixel camera or the stainless steel to the Pros. But battery is fundamental, and we've come a long way on the iPhone. Like, you guys that have been around here for a while, you remember how it used to be on the iPhone 6, 6S. It wasn't great. Now we're here, and I would just hate to see Apple lose all that momentum and only put it on the Pros. I mean, obviously everybody buying the Pros would be like, hey, this is sick, but everybody, the majority of people not spending $1,000 or more, you know, they would not get better battery life. That doesn't seem great. Of course, though, as we've talked about, this is coming at an additional cost this year on the Pros, as yet another Apple analyst, this time Daniel Ives of Wedbush, has said the same thing that so many others have said now. If you're buying an iPhone 14 Pro or iPhone 14 Pro Max, you'll be spending an extra $100 this year. I mean, listen, a $20, $30, $40 price increase, sure, whatever, I'm down, but $100, man, that's 10% above what we were paying before. On a phone, to be clear, that was already over $1,000. Remember when $999 was crazy? I mean, I'm pretty much on board now with this price increase. Not like I like it, but just so many sources have said it that I really do believe the rumors. I think the Pros will be getting more expensive this year, starting at $1099. Next up, let's move on to some of these real photos we've gotten recently. First of all, you can see here are some leaked screen protectors for the iPhone 14 Pro line, and as you can see, that cutout at the top, it continues to be pretty big. Now, I've gotten a lot of hate recently for flip-flopping on this top design. It's this that I'm talking about, the new eye notch, because at first I did hate it. I thought it looked really bad and obtrusive, almost worse than the notch, but I have to say, the more that I've looked at it, I genuinely like it. And to reiterate, here's why the new Pro notch design is a good thing. Number one, you are literally getting more screen on your phone. And number two, I feel like everybody keeps missing this. The bezels around the phone are so much thinner because of it. Have you noticed that there's now an even bezel around the entire phone? Sure, there are a couple of black spots where this notch is now, but the entire bezel is even. There's not something just sticking out from the top of the phone, and I think it looks so clean. So that's why I've changed my mind, and again, why seeing this leak confirming that the notch is changing to this, I am a fan of. I think it looks really good, and yes, I do love it. I love the way that it looks. And speaking of looks, we've also gotten a first look at some new cases for the iPhone 14, but not just any cases, cases from Apple themselves. Apparently in China already, you can buy these iPhone 14 replica cases that manufacturers have in production, which is always incredible. Apple hasn't even announced the phone, and China be like, hey, you want a case for this phone that's not out? It's incredible. You guys are the best. And we can take a look at these photos shared by Majin Buu on Twitter and see some of the new colors potentially. Now, to be clear, before we looked, these colors could just be guesses. It could just be companies taking shots in the dark based on rumors, or, you know, they might have seen the actual cases, and generally Apple's cases correlate to some of the colors of iPhones they're releasing. So I don't want to get you too hyped for that purple iPhone for all of you purple people, but yes, there is a lavender case as you can see here. It's this really nice shade that's not too strong and not too light. I really like the way it looks. You can see in all these photos, for example, we've got green here to the left and then a light pink or tan. And then in this next photo, some really vibrant options. And if you're looking at this photo like I am right now, yes, I am seeing the same size camera bump as you. This looks like a case for the standard 14 Pro here, and holy That is insane. Like, the camera cutout is almost cutting into the Apple logo. And again, for the 48 megapixel camera, there's not much I wouldn't do for it, but it's gonna be a chunky boy, all right? It's gonna be big chunkus on the iPhone 14, and whether or not we're here for it, it's happening. It's just funny looking back about a year ago when we first saw these images of what was supposed to be the iPhone 14 that had this iPhone 4-like design, that the camera hump was going to be completely flush and that the iPhone would sit flat on a table. It is funny to look back at that. I definitely don't need any additional therapy considering that the iPhone 14 is not going to look like this, and it's just going to look like a better version of the iPhone 13. And when is it coming out? Because guys, we finally gotten the date from, again, Mark Gurman, who is known to get these things right. Mark Gurman says this phone is being announced on Wednesday, September 7th. Now, of course, if you guys watch these videos a lot, we already talked about that date in my last video. But now, considering Gurman and Max Weinbach have said the same thing, it means it's just around the corner. So expect Apple to announce this about a week beforehand. Expect to see invites the week of August 29th, which is just about 2 weeks away to invites. Listen to me, I'm excited, okay? Don't laugh at me. I'm stoked for this event. So not much longer there, and genuinely not much long until these are actually in stores, because Gurman also tells us that the retail team has been alerted of a major launch happening just about a week after the iPhone event on Friday, September 16th. You know, really the only thing that hadn't leaked was what style this event was going to be in regards to live or in person, like a traditional Apple event, because since the pandemic started, Apple has obviously transitioned to pre-recorded events that a lot of people, including myself, we kind of fallen in love with. Well, apparently it's going to be another hybrid event. So you guys remember how WWDC worked? How, yes, it was streamed online live for free for everybody on the day of the event. It was also happening in person at Apple's campus. I was one of like 1,000 or so people that got to go to Apple's campus and watch it. I was a developer, and I'd love to go as media, Apple, if you're watching. I love you guys. I love to be at the iPhone 14 event. Hey, just throwing it out there. You should expect Apple to do the same thing this time around. So if you love the pre-recorded event, that is still staying the same, and media will be there to go to a hands-on area afterwards. So though they have to touch the iPhone 14 and everything at Apple's campus, it's going to be crazy. That's all for today. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll catch you in the next one. I almost said peace. Bye-bye.